Hello, 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 and welcome everybody to the 13 days of Mardi Gras. It's Mardi Gras here in Mobile, Alabama, the birthplace of Mardi Gras. How is everybody doing out there? Make sure you go ahead, check out Condi.com, see all of the deals, steals, and bargains going on at Condi.com. Don't be afraid to shop that clearance section because there is a great amount of awesome substrates, products, and everything that you are going to need in there. And there has never been a more perfect time for anything. I forgot to say one thing before I get to the most perfect time. Call your rep because they are your key to your savings. That's right. Your rep, 1-800-826-6332 is your key to savings. I'm the mayor of Mardi Gras Town, and I have given away the keys here to Condi, to our sales reps. Call them 1-800-826-6332 or email salesteam@condi.com. Ask about the savings, ask about the deals they can do for you, and check that out. But right now, there's never been a better time. You want to upgrade that heat press, you want to get a new heat press, you want to get 2 new heat presses, 3 new heat presses. Now's the time. You want to upgrade to something like a maxi press, get yourself up to one of the big boy presses. Now is the time. There's never been a better time. And right now, we have the man to ask all of the questions you want. He's going to go through everything to set you up to get a perfect press. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Aaron Knight from GeoKnight Heat Presses.
Thank you. Wow, that was quite the intro and the hat.
Thank you.
The hat, both off the charts. Thank you so much.
The hat is what is bringing the lighting in this room. It
is. It's just a dance ball. You can literally shine a light on it and then dance to it. So nice.
Yes. So Aaron, I will be here the entire time. I think you know maybe a few things about heat presses. Quality heat presses, one of the best heat presses on the market.
Why, thank you. Yes, I do, but only from the notes in front of me. Otherwise, 30 years, what do you know after that?
And I'll be here fielding.
You don't.
I'll be here fielding questions, coming in maybe and interrupting when the time comes. So ask questions, fire away, do all the things. Aaron, take it away.
Thank you. So I thrive on questions. Everybody just fire questions off, and if you could just interrupt as rudely as possible and let me know what they're chatting up. I really live off of those. So heat presses, our biggest thing we're finding now with heat press equipment is there's 2 general styles. There's disposable, get started, hobby type startup, lasting 6 to 9 months, maybe a year type of heat press. And then there's a business press that lasts not years, but a decade or 2, decades. And that's us. We make the lasting decades, not just years, heat press. So it is a major defining factor of heat press equipment is quality, whether you're getting something that's going to run a business, support a business, or just something to get by on the Amazon import China. Overseas presses are great for getting started, but there's consistency issues and there's issues with keeping customers and consistency and quality. So we have an extensive line of presses, and by extensive I mean an obnoxious number of SKUs of different pieces of equipment for everything everybody ever wanted, ranging from, you have standard format and then you have large format. Those are 2 really distinct characterizations, standard being anything 16 by 20 and under, and large format starting at 20 by 25, but really getting up into like the 26 by 32, the 32 by 42, the 44/64 maxi presses. We'll talk about those later. But for standard format, normal t-shirt size presses, the 16 by 20 is the most popular by a long shot, by a huge long shot. 16 by 20 is what people go with. Typically, it's much bigger than you actually need. It's much bigger than most transfer papers you're going to be working with. But it's a size people prefer because they can lay out multiple designs, or they can lay out a large garment and square it off on the bottom table, position it right. So 16/20 is typically the size decision. And I'm kind of walking you through a typical decision on what do I get? What heat press do I need? And it starts with size. Size is where it starts with. And basically, am I getting into really wide format stuff, or am I sticking with a standard format for a flat press? We're talking about a flat press. And then the other decision is, do I need a specialty press like for mugs or for caps or for labels and small tags? And I'm doing just tons and tons of labeling and things like that, and not really large transfers. So the other decision is, do I need something specialized, for cylindrical objects or drinkware, mugs and things like that? Or do I need something for caps? Well, that's going to be a cap press. You're not going to do caps on a flat press. So we decide on size, but we also decide on what style. Am I getting standard format, large format? Am I getting normal flat? Am I getting a specialty size? And then the next decision you make is, do I need a manual press for normal usage? Am I using the press 4 hours or more a day? Am I using the press constantly, for 3 or 4 hours a stretch every day? I'm on that thing. One of the great indicators of whether you need a manual press or an automatic press is, am I canceling my subscription to the gym? Am I stopping my workouts daily? And I've just completely am a no-show because I'm wiped out from bench pressing all day long on my heat press. That is a major indicator that your next press should be the automatic press. Am I wearing out my linkage and my clamps and stuff like that? We support that stuff forever. We warranty stuff for an extended period of time. But am I just doing a lot of maintenance, even with zero charge warranty parts? Am I just beating the daylights out of this press? GeoKnight's keeping us running forever, but boy, this is a little bit of maintenance because I'm beating it up. That is an indicator that you're ready for an automatic press. We made automatic presses to take care of production demands. We make automatic, just push a button to take care of your operators when they're just completely getting wiped out by bench pressing all day long. So that's the next decision is do I get a manual or do I get an automatic? Most people just use the manual and it's perfectly fine, lasts forever. We'll keep them running for decades. But once in a while, you get into a volume where you got to get the air off. It's a little extra, but it pays for itself instantly if you're using it regularly. It pays for itself in two ways. When you get an automatic press, and number one, they're super easy to set up. These days, there are these really small silent compressors like California Air Tools or any silent compressors at Home Depot, so there's no noise. They only cost a couple $100. It's super inexpensive to run these because these automatic air-operated presses need a compressor. So you hook that up. Super easy. We walk you through it. We have a document on suggestions on where to get the best ones, the most popular ones. And it's just a little device that compresses air in a tank and runs your press. A couple $100 to do that. But the question is because I'm totally losing my train of thought. I'm Captain Digression. Is with air-operated presses. You're going to pay for them very quickly. They're going to pay themselves back very quickly with a couple of things. First of all, you're going to have much better throughput. The press is just pressing when you hit the buttons. You can move right on to setting up your next set of work or setting up your transfers. It opens automatically, so you have super consistency of product. You're not pressing that extra time because you walked away and you have to step back to it. And number three, pressure on the air op is regulatable down to nothing, very, very tiny amount, cranked up all the way to much heavier pressure than you can get with a manual press. So now you can get this tremendous amount of pressure that otherwise you'd back off on because it's just so hard to close the press for certain other types of transfers like DTF and very demanding, pre-made transfers and things like that. Air ops are perfect for all of that. And without you putting huge amounts of effort, which means your operators are moving quicker, they're generally faster printing. And so, and also your operators will pay you back with love and gratitude because you got that press, which made their life so much nicer. And boy, does it make a difference in operator fatigue reduction and happiness and making you more money. So that's the plug for automatic. Consider it if you're doing significant volume. But that's just a quick blast through how to choose, how to decide on style, specialty or flat, size, regular sized or really big, and then from there, manual or automatic. Any questions out there? Hopefully something, anything anybody's bringing up for us.
Aaron, do you have any videos on how to change the green pad on the DK 3 mug press?
Yeah, that's a great question. We would make a video on that, but it would probably be banned on YouTube for showing physical cruelty to a person, for the pain and suffering involved in changing the pad out. So no, we don't, but we have really good instructions for that. It basically entails scraping the old pad out, which is a little bit of a pain. I might have exaggerated a little, not much, but you have to scrape the pad out, then putting the new one in, you end up with a brand new, beautiful heater. It costs you like $30 for the pad, and then maybe $10 or $15 for the adhesive. You know, it's a special RTV high temperature adhesive. The instructions are great. And the key is when you stick on the new pad, you don't damage the temperature sensor wire. And then you clamp 2 mugs back to back, so the whole heater is clamping around, you know, a cylindrical surface. And you just clamp it lightly overnight. And that way it's curing under a little bit of pressure, lightly overnight or for a day. And then you have a brand new press. So you can do that. Some companies that just crank through padding, you know, do thousands and thousands and thousands of mugs. What they'll actually do is they'll just get whole spare band heaters, the whole heater ready on site, and that way they can just plug and play and swap it out. It's, you know, $100 more. It's significant more cost, but their time is in their eyes more valuable than the cost of that, and they swap it out. But otherwise, change the pad. It's not hard. It's just a pain in the neck. You know, time intensive. Maybe half hour or so.
Half hour is not bad. I'll take that. And Condi definitely has all of those parts for you.
Yes.
So
Yes,
give us a call, 1-800-826-6332, or check out condi.com.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I could talk about the next most popular subject on heat press.
That's all we got so far, Aaron. Everyone's waiting for the next popular subject.
Yeah, I think on previous webinars like this, there were 4,200 questions from normal ongoers. And so I've answered everyone's life's questions forever, and there's no need for me at all. But let's talk about pressure, because pressure is actually probably the most common thing people call in about, have issues with, struggle with, associate with issues they're not having. So pressure is that thing where the heat press is locking, and it's not just resting on the padding, but there's a clamping. Now this is a technical engineering term. You've got to get this right. There is a ka-thunk. Ka-thunk is the most important word in heat press and pressure related tech support. And most people watching this video are probably aware of that. But pressure is something that has led Condi and many others to prefer greatly swing away presses, because swing away presses can overdo it. It's a little bit easier to feel it out. Excuse me. And generally with swing aways, because the swing away press is swinging right over and coming down parallel onto thicker items or hard materials or plaques or tiles and other thick materials, they're always coming down straight and parallel. You get much more even contact and even pressure. So for sublimation items, sublimation work, kind of like some of the stuff behind me, swingways are greatly preferred because they resolve any uneven pressure issues that you might have with thick or sublimation items on a clamshell press. Clamshells, of course, we all know are the ones that kind of come down at an angle. They're very common with the China hobby presses, the low-cost clamshell presses. There's an endless supply of disposable presses that are clamshell style, and so they typically are less pressure and more uneven pressure. They're hitting at the back and not at the front. Not so of our clamshells. I know people are very wary to stay away from them, but they're actually the most popular press in the screen printing industry, and with DTF resellers, with the DTG world out there. Clamshells are the most popular. We have an auto pop-up style, or the regular manual where you're manually opening and closing, or the ones that pop up. They're excellent. Ours are actually coming down more evenly. They're not just like on a hinge at the back. They have a little space at the back so that you're not burning your knuckles, which is, by the way, how we used to recognize our competitors' customers at trade shows. Check their knuckles. You know exactly which press they have, not yours. Side joke and funny but true thing in life. So our clamshells come down much more even. They're not recommended for items over a 1/4 inch thick. If you're getting 1/2 inch plaques, or tile on the top of a Nomex on top of something else, get a swing away press. If you're doing, thick 3/4 plaques, get a swing away press. The clamshells are not going to be appropriate for that, but they will get you good pressure. They will do that. But the main key with pressure we found, other than like light sublimation onto a vapor foam pad onto fabric, that's like no pressure, is that it's better to err on the side of strong to make sure you have good contact, especially with metals and other hard flat items. Err on the side of stronger pressure, you're going to get much better results, which also translates to get a press that can give you stronger pressure versus a press that's going to be very limited, or it's going to wear out quickly and have issues early on. Any other things I'm missing on pressure?
Hey, Aaron, we got a question in here, and it kind of revolves around pressure, but
Sure.
Chromolux, would you recommend a manual press or a automatic press?
Yeah, so there's actually two very different answers on this, depending on standard size presses or large format. For typical presses, the DK20S manual press, the swing away, mid-size digital combo, or even the DK14S, the small 12x14 swing away, absolutely perfect. They're manual. They're absolutely perfect for Chromolux. Chromolux is going to do just fine with all of our swing away, or even with the thinner Chromolux products with our clamshell manual presses. So there's absolutely no need to get an air-operated press just for Chromolux items for regular format. What we run into is a lot of bowing, deflection, and fighting from large format Chromolux metals. We're talking like 2 feet by 3 feet, way out, large format stuff, even bigger than, this is hard with mirrored, than stuff like this. You run into a situation where if you have a manual maxi press, which is great for fabric, we actually check with most manual maxi press sales, like the 3242 manual maxi or the 4464 maxi especially. We say, hey, are you just doing fabrics and flat fabrics on this manual maxi press? And they say, no, I'm doing metals. We literally deny them the right to buy something from us. We'll say, no, don't. You can't get the manual maxi press. You do need tremendous amounts of pressure. You need a lot of pressure to hold that metal from deflecting and bowing and fighting with the padding below. You need a significant amount of pressure on large format Chromolux metals. In this case, there's not a lot of FR plastics being done in large format, but the metals there's a ton of large format. You really need an automatic press in that case. So yes, you have to get an air op. You have to get an automatic for the pressure for large format, but absolutely no for small stuff. Small stuff is going to work great on our manual presses.
So we're talking about heat presses here, and while we're on that subject, what type of things can you do for maintenance to keep your heat press running?
So a little pet peeve from some tech support. I do a lot of tech support because I like to find out what's going on out there. One pet peeve we have is clean your darn press. We see it. You people have a lot of dusty presses out there, and we have a bone to pick with you. No, I'm kidding. It is amazing to see how much tremendous volume people do on a heat press, and that's awesome. Makes us super happy to see people pay off a press that'll last 10 to 20 years in 5 months. You guys are amazing about that. So what will happen is you'll have a contamination, you'll have markings, you'll have sublimation ghosting or outgassing or ghosts of past projects showing up on new projects and past designs and all kinds of stuff when you don't keep it clean. You gotta just take a bottle Windex to the whole darn thing, like everything. Screen, handles, head, rubber pad. The Windex is so awesome. Or simple green or Windex. Take it to that rubber pad on the bottom and the heat platen when it's not hot, and clean the press. Keep it squeaky clean so that your shirts are not getting contaminated, your product isn't getting dirt heat sealed into itself, or just stuff getting in between the paper and the product and getting light specks of who knows what lightness because it blocked the inks. So main maintenance, we would say, is just keep it very clean. On the swing away presses, on top of that, added on, is the back post. Over time, a little bit of grease or lubricant from that post, which you don't have to lubricate, you don't have to maintain, but that'll work out. And if you don't clean that bottom post down around that area, that can get onto shirts when you're draping them or threading shirts on and off of the table underneath. And what'll happen is your shirts have this little grease spot, and you have to wash it or clean it, and you know, just it makes things painful when things aren't clean. So you guys need to clean your presses, and that sometimes you'll do transfers upside down, and you'll get inks onto the heat platen. And no, you're not the only one who does that. In fact, all of us do. Even people who have been doing this for 30 years. We'll do a transfer upside down. It's like, what was I thinking? So you scrub. Take a scouring pad, like a kitchen, the kitchen sponge on the backside. There's that scouring pad. And no steel wool, no sandpaper, no digging into the metal or scraping into it, but scouring pad and some aggressive detergent or something like that, Comet or Ajax or soft scrub. Scrub, and keep the heat platen very flat, smooth, flat, and no gunk building up on it, no residues building up on it. And then the other, like, I know this isn't really maintenance, but it kind of is maintenance, is you got to kill the trees. You have to kill the trees. Lose lots of cover sheets of paper. If you surround your work with a paper under and over, just junk craft paper, junk copy paper, or white paper, the cheapest is the best. But you need to surround your work with some junk paper. Keep the paper always on the bottom table. Throw it away every dozen or so pressings if it builds up ink. But,
hey, Aaron.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say I learned this trick the other day. So yes, you should always use some sort of paper with your press, because it's better to use that than to have to clean it. And I am throwing Doug under the bus. Like 2 weeks ago, he came in, used the press, and I was like, "You didn't use a cover sheet," and he's like, "I don't need to use a cover sheet with that." He got gunk all over the top of my press that ruined the next substrate I was trying to work on.
Doug deserves a beating regularly, and we've
because
known that
I didn't use the cover sheet when I was pre-pressing it. But for all of your, your cover sheets, save those. Don't throw them away. Put them in a box or save them separately, and shred them and use them as packaging for when you send your next orders.
Ooh, that's like wicked smart.
Yeah,
that's really brilliant.
Good for the planet.
Yeah. Well, the best thing for the planet is to use as much paper as possible, which sends a signal to the forestry industry to grow more trees. So you're literally planting trees by wasting as much paper as possible.
Yeah.
So if you really, am I allowed to say that? Have I just been canceled? I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know, but that's my interjection there. Back to you.
Good point. So paper cover sheets actually make for a cleaner press. So other than that, maintenance suggestions are, keep an eye on it. On the DK20S, our most popular press by far, probably the most common maintenance thing, which is kind of minor, is that long handlebar with the two rubber handlebar grips, the motorcycle grips. That can loosen up and get jiggly. And there's two Allen screws facing you when you bring the handle down that you want to keep very tight. If they keep loosening up, put a little red Loctite thread locker. It's at Home Depot. It's red. It's a little juice. Don't drink it. It'll kill you. But it's a little thread locker that you put on the threads of the screws. So when you tighten them up, let it cure overnight. Suddenly they don't loosen up as much, and the handle stays nice and tight. Because if you leave the handle super loose, you can keep using the press. Of course, the press is going to go forever no matter what. But you might snap one of those screws if you let it really loose. If it's tight, it'll never break ever, forever and ever. So maintenance. What else? For manual presses, keep an eye on your clamping mechanisms that close and lock all those links and pins. If you see significant wear, and if your handle starts saying, "Hey, I'm going to pop up on my own, I'm not going to stay locked," that means you've paid for your press 20 times over. You should probably buy another one, but actually you can just replace those clamps for like $35-40 and suddenly you have a brand new press again. We can make that press new even if you've destroyed it. It's so easy and inexpensive to make the press new. So you shoot us an email. Send us an email, fill out the form on the support page. We are not allowed to go home and see our families until we answer your email. We're literally chained to a radiator. It's down there, and no one's allowed to see it. but they don't unshackle me from the radiator until I answer everything, or someone else does, and do that. So anything that happens on the press, if you're not sure about the maintenance, quick note, shoot us an email. We have to answer. We want to see our families, and we want to eat that night, so we have to answer you.
Hey, Aaron. Well, at least from the radiator, you're getting a lot of moisture.
Yes.
Can you can you clean your mug press the same way as your swing away with Windex?
Yeah, or Simple Green. Yeah, Windex is good, and Simple Green is something we actually use in the factory. It's a common cleaner. I think you get it at Home Depot or whatever, but it's a little spray bottle, or you can get it in bulk. But get a little bottle of Simple Green, because it's just such a great cleaner for that silicone rubber padding, as Windex is too, but especially Simple Green. It really makes the pad seem brand new again. It brings it back to life, keeps it from drying out. It's just a miracle treatment and cleaner at the same time.
That is all with questions. If anyone else has any other questions for Aaron, he can answer them. What's next on the agenda, Aaron?
I don't know. I just emptied everything out that I've got. You know, heat presses are kind of boring. They're an overglorified hand iron. It gets hot and it presses, and there's an endless subject of small items to talk about with them. But you know, the key with heat presses is get something where it's going to take care of you, where it has a lot of people and a factory in America and same day support that's going to take care of you. Because when these days, when you're buying durable goods, they're not always so durable, which is not fair. You know, a long-term durable good purchase is supposed to be something that is durable, or it lasts long. It's not supposed to be consumable. Consumables are the mugs, and you use it and then you ship it out or you throw it away, and it's a consumable. Paper is a consumable. Somehow, a lot of heat presses, even one of the large, you know, super large competitors of ours that's supposed to be American made, is no longer. It's all coming in from China. I won't say their name online. It begins with an S and ends with alls. There's a T in there somewhere. But, you know, a lot of stuff's coming in from overseas. A lot of stuff is really significantly degrading quality. So the biggest advice with heat presses is get one with a company that just is always going to support it, and has been doing so for over half century. Since the 70s. So we're over a half century of making heat presses, 135 years of making other machinery. We're very broad in what we're doing. We have a lot of specialized industries that aren't sublimation or heat transfer related. So very stable that way, even in tough times like today. So, you know, you have to, durable goods are not as trustworthily durable as they once were. So that's probably the main driver of heat press decisions, other than size, style, manual or automatic, or large format or regular format, or specialized or not. You know, the decision is this something that I can look up reviews on Trustpilot and see if this company is actually taking care of its customers, or if it's a disposable Amazon, you know, press. Amazon's great for consumables, great for you know, things you need to get. Condi has a wonderful presence and is doing a fantastic job making sure you get the best stuff, and you don't get your washing machine on Amazon. You know, you get it through a Condi of washing machines, and the same goes for. You know, you need a company that's going to be solid and significant for that. So big plug for quality in our minds. That's us.
So, Aaron, there's a myth out there that maybe it's a saying, but like after nuclear attack, the only thing that will survive is a cockroach. And I always tell customers that no, that's not true. Your GeoKnight heat press will still be there after a nuclear attack. And Aaron will still be there to replace anything that needs to be replaced for that. In the chance that it does, probably nothing will need to get, you know, changed. But we do have a question here, and in all seriousness, you know, I know that GeoKnight has the warranties and all of those sorts of things on all of the parts and all of that. Diana has a question on here. What is the average years a heat press will last. You know, you can talk about the GeoKnight ones compared to the Amazon ones too, if you like.
Yep. So, well, first we got to go back to that. I think you just said that our heat presses will last through nuclear blast like a cockroach, and I would also like a cockroach. Somehow, I think you just called me a cockroach, and we have this on video recorded, and I'm going to have to go back in there and take issue with that if that's the case, because that's an awesome compliment. Thank you so much for that. No one has ever complimented me in that fashion, and it's awesome. Not every day you get called a nuclear surviving cockroach, and sweet. That was sweet. Anyway, someone asked a question. Okay, years. I digressed. I just needed to marinate in that for a moment. So years of a heat press. Yeah, so we actually have kind of an unofficial logo, not in print, but an unofficial saying of decades, not years. We will support the press. We can keep you running for a decade now. You might beat the living tar out of it, might eventually have to pay for a few parts, but we will keep it running for decades, not years. We're very proud of that, especially now where, you know, you used to get good number of years. Boy, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but out of a Stahl's press. Hicks, you know, our competitor, same. You can get lots and lots. Those things are changing. Times are changing, and not so. There's just a lot more mass exodus of our competitors of U.S.-based machinery flooding to us, saying, "Please save us from all this trouble." But the worst by far, of course, is you know, the China junk. You know, to its great credit, it can look good. Sometimes some units might even look better than ours. We make brick outhouses and Sherman tank type of heat presses, easy to use, but they look like Sherman tanks. We're working on that, by the way. We'll smooth out the lines even further in the future, but we don't want to touch the general mechanical design. We don't want to touch the electronics too much because they can go for years and years. So one of the major issues we see with longevity, because that was the question, is how long do they last? Is you'll get 1 or 2 decades out of ours. You'll get 1 or 2 years out of the disposable import presses, and you'll get something well in between from some of the other U.S. makers where they're kind of bringing them in at this point, especially with the Stahl's units. But electronics-wise is a very interesting subject. With our controller, it's super easy to swap out inexpensively. So even if you get a lightning strike, a zap, or a fry, which happens more often than you realize, a jolt and a surge that ruins the thermocouple temperature sensor chip, IC chip in there, or something like that, and you get to replace controller. You know, with us, you know, for $150, you have a brand new press. Even if you're out of warranty by forever, $150 all of a sudden gets you a brand new press electronically. Not so with super fancy touchscreen units, like where there's an iPhone built into the heat press, but it still has the same features as ours, just slicker, touchy screeny, which we will eventually go over to, but we'll always maintain super robust electronics. But with those, you're looking at $600 to replace a controller versus $150. So there's an odd difference there with longevity. Longevity often means this is going to cost too much to be worth it to keep up and running. And that's something we've really focused on, is longevity often means how long can I keep it running reasonably at reasonable cost or no cost, versus how long can I keep something running where finally, you know, I got to change out an engine and a transmission, and oh my gosh, it's, you know, my dealer just, you know, quoted me $7,000 on the transmission and you know, big engine work. Well, that's not longevity. It's time to buy a new car. And that happens with heat presses. What a great analogy. I just came up with that myself. I'm so happy about the car analogy with those bills. So that and the cockroach analogy was really good. So the issue is cost of ownership, cost of keeping it running for a couple decades. And we've designed the press to basically keep you from spending money with us for as long as possible, to trick you into loving us as much as possible, so you'll buy another press from us in the future. That is playing out. That brilliant ownership philosophy is playing out very nicely. putting us in the pole position of heat press industry is keep people from spending money with you as long as you can, so that they'll be so grateful and so happy with your service and so happy with the performance of the equipment. They just got to get another one when they finally do decide it's time to get another one. So that's my comments on longevity.
Hey, Aaron, and I wasn't calling you a cockroach, to be clear on this. I've had some time to think about it.
Don't take it back. It was so awesome.
There's the duck and cover videos back from the 1950s. You would just duck and cover underneath your DK20S and survive.
Yes, and that would work better. That would actually probably work, at least to block the fallout.
And I really do tell customers this, that there's two things that'll survive a nuclear attack. So
that's so funny.
Deb is asking about a product slate. She's getting waffling on a corner. I'm not sure what that is. I would say for Deb, if you're not using a green rubber pad on top, that could potentially happen. Definitely call our tech support. They can help you with that, because that's a Condi product, and I want to get the Condi answer to you. So give us our tech support a call, 1-800-826-6332, option 2. We got a compliment in here. They love your customer service. Had to get the heat platen replaced. Took a day and only cost me freight to get it to you. Wouldn't buy anywhere else.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate
Trisha's saying that she's new to GeoKnight, and she got it because of a video I did. Probably you were on there.
Nice.
All of that, that she wouldn't. Oh no, that's sorry, it moved a whole new level compared to what they had. And that's right. I don't think some people understand what they're missing until you use a GeoKnight. I will say GeoKnight's, there's nothing sexy about it. You know what this thing's going to do? It is going to press. The profit you make and the sleep you get, that's the sexy part of it. This thing's going to press. I'm not bad-mouthing anyone, but they have an IQ unit, all right? And it's got fancy things in there and a pencil. I've never seen one of those work, ever in my life. Have I seen one actually work? Now, we got Diane in here, and she's asking about the K20JS. I don't even know what that model is.
Yep.
You probably do. Are parts available for that?
What's she asking? I can't see the chat right now.
Oh, but, I can put it up there. Are parts available for the K20JS?
Okay, very good. We don't have the dogs in that picture. Oh, that was her Facebook profile picture. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry. So number one, what was her name again, by the way?
Diane.
Oh, Diane. Okay, Diane, thank you for the question. But I have to pause that just to go back again to something. You had me a cockroach, and you won my heart, and then suddenly you just said that there was absolutely nothing sexy about me. Listen, the truth hurts, and we all know this, and but there's no need to bring it up online. That's really sad. I can't believe you just said that, and I'm going to take that up with your boss. That you just announced something we all know and didn't need to cover, which was I'm totally not sexy, and nor are the presses. We're working on it. We think we're gonna. You said it about me. I know you said it about me. You can't take it back. But now we're working on the presses. There's nothing I can do about me.
Behind your back, I call you the sexiest man in the business. You can go back and watch videos,
but not online. Yeah, so we're working on one of those, and actually in the future, the presses will get a little smoother as things improve. But it's a great point, and then we'll get to Diane. The IQ press, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It looks like it's right out of a Star Trek movie. It's beautiful, and it's plastic moldings and very, very flimsy sheet metal. Very mechanically light pressure, and then suddenly that's the $600 touchscreen replacement or more, costs even more. So nightmarish costs, and quality has gone down the tubes. But yeah, so there is an issue with cosmetics versus quality. We would like to have a better balance, because we look like a dinosaur. I get that, and it's because we put heavy steel, heavy welding, real, robust. Anyone south of the Mason-Dixon, I think, calls our presses a brick outhouse, or built like, or something like that. But yeah, so we are sexy light, not so much, but we've really focused on quality. Other presses, all cosmetic and no cattle. All hat and no cattle, something like that. Diane, the DK20JS was the old part number and model number for the DK25S. DK25S or the DK20JS was a 20 by 25 heat platen. So bigger. It was not a 16 by 20. You have a 20 by 25 press. It's basically the same. It'll work with the new controller version with the blue backlit screen. I bet yours has a gray screen with black digits. Totally backwards compatible. So you could replace all the electronics in there, the circuit boards, the keypad, totally compatible. We really insist on compatibility and forward-looking design changes where old customers are not cut off. This is really important. Most manufacturers, when they come out with a new model, you're done. You are instantly discontinued. So anything digital, we insist on backwards compatibility. Your press is fine. We have all the clamps, we have all the parts, we have everything you need on that. You got to shoot us a note with a little picture of something you're concerned of, a little picture of the press. And this is to everybody. Send us a quick email, send a few pictures, keep attachments under 25 megabytes so it doesn't get rejected and we never get it. But send us a note to say, hey, this is my model. Here's a picture of the serial tag. Here's a picture of the thing I'm concerned about. Can I get this or that? And the answer is yes. Yes, it's the DK25S. It was just a different part number back then. Everything's compatible. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and Diane, you can always email me if you have any questions. I can look it up for you. I will find you the person to get your job done. We got a lot of people in here. Deb's asked a lot of questions. Melanie came in. A lot of people saying that they love their GeoKnight heat presses, that they've lasted for years. They've got multiple ones, so they are not just, they're repeat customers is what I'm saying. And yeah, unfortunately, it is the way of the world. Nothing is, permanent and nothing lasts forever. On a GeoKnight DK20S, mine here, the switch went out. And Aaron got me one. It was near Christmas time, and I don't know how long it took to get here because I took a week and a half off or something. But it was here when I got back. I took out 2 screws. I'm not an electrical engineer like David, so I can't do that. But I took out the screws. There might have been 4. I don't know. It looks to be 4 on this one, and it was super easy. I just plugged it in, unplugged everything, threw that away, and plugged in all the wires. It came with a whole new electrical cord, everything. I was very impressed with it. Took me less than 15 minutes, and I even took a few breaks in there. So,
yep. Yeah, so we make support kits that cover the majority of problems, and then great instructions. If you're replacing a controller, we've got a video just kind of walking you through tips. Hey, swap this out, switch. But the goal is same day response. Typically, same day shipping of any type of support parts. We put support above sales and marketing. We take care of existing customers first. And that's true with shipping as well. But yeah, you're right. The kits are great, and they just get you right back up and running. We oftentimes have most of our support throughout the day actually solves issues without parts needed. Most issues are printing related, or settings related, or a little maintenance or reconnection of something. So a lot of times we can actually solve things without a single parts install. But if not, we prefer people to working on our press to be somewhere in junior high to high school with 0 experience or qualifications and no engineering degrees. We found the biggest trouble in support are engineers like Dave Gross. He's the biggest trouble. They're the hardest to get to follow instructions and to resolve things. Make sure he sees that clip.
For sure. I will definitely throw that at you. And we need those engineers to figure out all the weaknesses to break everything, right?
Yes, that's what they do.
Simple.
All stuff.
Yeah, this was great. Now is the time. There's never been a better time to get a GeoKnight heat press. Victoria's on here laughing. We'll put that up there. Victoria heard that, so that is David's daughter, if you didn't know.
In her Mardi Gras / wedding / ball gown or something.
She was the queen of the ball. I believe that's 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. Tonight
like
is David Fall. I will be there. We'll see what happens. I'll give him, I'll give him a hard time while I'm there. Off the clock, so I'm not getting paid. I will be doing it for free.
You can say anything if you're off the clock.
That's right. Aaron, this was great. Now's the time to get a GeoKnight heat press. Now's the time to upgrade, to, check out what Condi has to offer. Go ahead, call your rep, 1-800-826-6332. You answered a lot of questions. You answered every question I would ever have about a heat press. Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge in there.
And sarcasm. Yeah.
No, there is. Are you going to be on the road or anytime this year with GeoKnight?
No.
Yeah.
It's the radiator factor. I am chained to the desk. But we have Zoom and stuff now. So
I love the fact that you guys answer all questions. That day you try to get it to them, get the parts out as fast as possible. I understand, shipping, cutoff times and all of that, and I hope everyone else does. The guys out there in those trucks are doing an absolutely wonderful, and ladies too, they're doing an absolute wonderful job getting our stuff delivered to us. I don't think they get enough appreciation, because they do. They're actually the true heroes here, not us. But yes, Aaron, any last words for everybody?
In my mind,
I've offended you for the third time.
In my mind, I feel that I am the hero of my own story, and I resent that too. So we're kind of 50-50 here. We were up with the cockroach thing, and then down with the no sexy and you're not a hero. Yeah. I feel like I'm a hero. Geez.
Any last words on GeoKnight and why you should buy one? Condi?
Yeah, because we have awesome distributors like Condi Systems. That's a great reason right there.
Well, thank you, Aaron. This was my pleasure. I don't know if it was yours. Thank you for being on here. Diane saying that we did a great job and it was informative. She is
thank you, Diane.
kind to us, I think.
Thank you, Diane.
We appreciate all of you guys, and check out Condi.com. Check out heatpress.com. These guys have been in the business so long that they actually have heatpress.com. That's right. So that kind of makes you guys like the first heat press. I don't know. Gives you some cred, some street cred, as the kids would say.
We had heat presses before electricity.
Yes. DB was on here. I forgot to give them the shout out. They are always on here. They said we're doing a great job, and they love us. Good info. So Aaron, I think that's gonna do us here. I'm going to call this one. Give us a call, 1-800-826-6332. And thanks again, Aaron. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.